Paul from pbmentors.com here. All right. So you've decided exactly what you want for your life, in your life. That's hard. Very hard to do. If you're in the process of it, you recognize that. Now it gets even harder than that, if you can believe it, right? Now you have to decide, how much of a price are you willing to pay? How much are you willing to sacrifice? What does that look like to you? Have you gone through it? Have you written it down? Have you thought it all the way through? It's so critical to think that ahead of time, so that as you're going through the process, something doesn't reach up and bite you and say, I'm supposed to be doing this, or I wanted to do that. It's getting really clear, first, what you want, and then two, what you're willing to sacrifice to get it. So for me, I'll take you back to the very beginning of 2015. I started dating a girl at that time, someone I really like, someone I knew in my youth, in my middle teens, early to middle teens. Didn't see each other for 28 years, reconnected, and I met her at a very rough time in my life. No money, no car, no credit, lost in my way completely broke, completely lost. So we started dating in 2015. We're dating for about a year or so. In 2016, January, I open up the Senior Movers, which you may know me for. 1 month to 6 weeks or so later, I have a terrible medical scare. End up in the hospital, nearly lose my life. Fortunately, recover after 3 weeks in the hospital and a whole bunch of symptoms you could hear about on my personal life story on YouTube. And it takes about 3 to 4 months to recover. So I was in a bad spot, all those things that I mentioned. Now medically, I'm in a very bad spot, filled with fear, not sure exactly what I want, lost myself even more. And I really have to make a decision to get up off that gurney, to get up off that bed, to recover, and to go for everything that I want, because at this time, I'm basically 45 years old. And I basically got to restart. I have this wonderful woman in my life. So mid-March, I get home. I start to recover. A few months go by. I now kind of getting into the business, right? I started it in January. It was only a month and a half, and there I was in the hospital. So I start focusing on that. Couple of 2, 3, 4, 5 months after I recover, I'm working 7 days a week. And I was doing it a lot. And I was coming home, 8, 9 o'clock, 10 o'clock, 11 o'clock at night. Starting at 6, sometimes earlier than that. I would get at my computer in my home office at 4:30, 5 o'clock. I knew exactly what I had to do, but I wasn't communicating it really clear at the time. So my girlfriend at the time says to me, one Saturday, I remember I was at work, I remember where I was standing. I'm in the office by myself, and we're going at it pretty good. And she says, so this is what it is, huh? You have no time for me, etc., etc. And I say, all right, so yeah, I had a feeling that this conversation was coming. Here's what I need to share. So there's a priority list that I have, and I want to be fair with you. And I want to share that with you right now, I tell her. This was bold. I didn't plan on saying this, but I had to say it because I needed to be fair with her. So I say, I have 3 priorities off the top here. Number 1 is myself and my health. I have to make sure that I stay healthy, do everything that I'm supposed to do so I don't end up back in the hospital. Number 2 is my company. And that is most important to me at this time. And I need to tell you that. 3 would be you. The business has got to come first after myself. And there was just this pause on the phone. I said, I really like you. I'd really like to continue dating you. But this is me. This is who I am. I want to be fair with you now so that if you want to go, please do, and I'll understand. That'll stink, but I want to be fair with you. If you're willing to stay in this, this is how it's going to be, and it's going to be this way for quite a long time until I'm able to recover physically, mentally, emotionally, spiritually, financially, start to get the business up off the ground. And anybody who's ever been an entrepreneur, I mean, you just go and you go. I'm 8, 9 years in now. Hey, it takes another 5, another 6, another 7 to really get where it is you truly want to get. When you're looking to build something big and something significant, and you're not just a solopreneur that just wants to make a living. I employ a lot of people, and it requires a lot. And so She says, I want to think about that. And I said, no problem. I understand. I'll see you when I get home. So I get home, we have a talk, and she says, I understand. And I said, here's what I want to share with you. Not that I'm going to become some wealthy rich guy, but if you support this and if you stand by me, I promise you I will provide you a better life. It's just going to take some time. And she signed on for it. She was okay with that. And I was like, cool. Now, from that moment forward, there were still sticky, prickly moments where, it reared its ugly head again. Paul's working too much. Paul's not home. Paul's always on the phone. Paul's always doing this. He's always doing that. Spends more time at work than he does with me. But we worked our way through it. And I'm glad to say that we got married in 2021. And we are happily married some 2.5, almost basically approaching 2.5, approaching 3 years of marriage. So for you, it depends. You might not have been in the situation that I was in or the age that I was in, but certainly there's going to be some circumstances in your life that you're going to need to evaluate. What are you willing to give up? Is it partying? Is it a girlfriend? Is it a certain lifestyle? Is it certain crutches? Is it going out partying? Is it drinking? Is it gambling? It could be all sorts of different things. It could be working less and need to work more. What exactly are you willing to sacrifice to match things up with what you said you decided that you wanted to have or do? See, for me, I needed to get myself back in order. I needed to be able to provide for myself, take care of myself, love myself, be everything I could for myself before I could be that for the business, for a girlfriend, for employees, for family, for whomever it was. I'm useless to anyone if I'm not first everything to myself. So with that being said, it is so unbelievably critical to recognize you might lose some friends. You might lose a certain routine. You're going to basically go underground for a little bit. Might be months, could even be years. And you got to be okay with the ramifications of that. Prioritize what it is that's most important to you and exactly what you're willing to give up. People will say you're no longer available. We used to go out all the time, or we used to see each other all the time, or we used to talk all the time. Whatever the case may be, you have to make that decision on what is more important, what is a higher priority to fit the needs of your life there. And then what is just as important as anything else is not to just think in that moment. Think 1 move, 2 moves, 3 moves, 5 moves, even 6, 7, 8 moves ahead. What does the next 5, 10, 15, 20 years of your life look like? Life is a journey. We're not rushing through. I understand. But if you don't have a plan of what it looks like 3, 5, 10, 15 years from now, you're probably not making a decision that is going to last because you haven't considered everything that's yet to come. You might be thinking in that moment and you're making a decision for that moment. A year later, 3 years later, it might not just take adapting, but it might take a completely different decision because you might have made the wrong one. So when you decide exactly what you want, think about yourself in that moment and how it affects everyone and everything around you. But at the same time, think about it and how it extrapolates to 3 years, to 5, to 10. Think about the people in your life. Think about who you want in your life. Who do you want to continue to have in your life? And for me, I lost a lot of people. I honestly, I did. And I gained a lot of people. And I gained basically, a lot of people don't like to call it this. They don't like to call work family. But for me, in many ways, it is a second family. There's many, many, many families that depend on the company for their income and their careers and the opportunity to thrive. And for me, that was basically the biggest thing. I wanted something big and substantial to be able to help the masses. And I'm not talking about just in the local area, and servicing this couple of mile radius. Started in Michigan, now in Florida, and have different products and services that are now available around the country and around the world. And I thought about that, and that was a plan from day one. Florida was always in the plan. So I was thinking 3 and 4 and 5 moves or steps ahead. That was critical to be able to get along the way, have it continue to drive me, And I'll just be honest, I'll go back to that girlfriend who's now my lovely wife. You could see it, some of the light in the background here. She likes her life in Florida. And that took amazing sacrifice. And guess what? It still does. It doesn't end. That's the other thing. So very, very difficult to get something. And it takes years and years and years. It takes a moment, just a moment of slipping up or losing humility or thinking you've arrived or thinking you've got it all. And then it can go away just in a blink of an eye after a decade and a half, 2 decades, whatever your situation is. So I had the priorities in order, but I never did prior to 40. It took me a long time to figure this out. I was unwilling to listen. I had people trying to tell me, I implore you, I empower all of you. I ask all of you, hear this message, because there's time that will pass that you cannot get back. 45 years old, I nearly lost my life. My father passed at 45. It was basically now or never type of thing. And don't let it get to a point where it's now or never for you. Do it in your much younger years. You're 18, you're 20, you're 22, you're 24. Male, female, it doesn't matter. Write it down, put it on a screen, decide exactly what you want, decide exactly what price you're willing to pay, what's most important in your life, who are you willing, what do you not want to compromise, what are you willing to compromise in terms of friendships and different lifestyles and routines, because you're going to have to get rid of a lot of that. It's just plain and simple. You're not going to be able to do as many things as you want. If you truly want independence, financial freedom, flexibility, particularly if you want to be an entrepreneur, and I encourage everybody, we need more entrepreneurs. We need more people that are willing to take it all on. Entrepreneurs are great too. They're basically the same as an entrepreneur, but without the risk like somebody like me takes. But you operate daily, every day, like you're an owner, just without the risk. So we need more entrepreneurs and we need more entrepreneurs. But in order to get that, particularly with the generations now and how things have changed so much, it's so critical to have the right messaging. And there's a lot of messaging out there. There's a lot of gurus. There's a lot of advisors. Find someone you connect with, someone that you could relate with, someone that maybe tells a similar story to what you're going through or have been through, and lock into that and follow it and apply it and watch yourself grow. And then once you start to establish a success or two, you establish a win or two, it feels good. And then you want more of that. And then you ask yourself the critical question, how do I get more of it? And so I'll discuss all of those type of things in many videos over time. You can find me on pbmentors.com. You can book and schedule time with me one-on-one through text, through video, through phone, all of it. You can do a live video with me and I will interact with you. I will learn your story. I will share mine, and together we will work to get you either on the right path or get you plowing down the path you currently are. Been through a lot. I have a lot to share and I can help you. Paul, pbmentors.com. Log on today. Schedule your appointment and we'll do it together. Thanks all and have a great day.